name is Grace Stevens of happyclassrooms.com. I'm an educator and an author, and my mission is simple: happier classrooms for teachers and students. So here we are. Welcome to my very first video. I have to tell you, I didn't have YouTube influencer on my list of things to do for 2021, but this video has come as a response to requests I have had for some of my readers. I have a subscribers list, and some of them have been asking for more information, for tips, for advice, and with every good intention in the world, I just don't have time to be writing blog posts like I used to. You know, I'm not a teacher turned author, or a teacher turned speaker, or a teacher turned YouTuber. I'm a teacher. I'm in it every day. Right to my right here, barely off the screen, is my computer, my monitor, curriculum piled up to the ceiling, everything I'm using in my home office to teach remotely right now. I literally just got off my class Zooms for the day. So you're gonna have to forgive the low production volume. Volume, see, look, let's hope that I can crop that out. The low production quality of this video. My mantra is better to be done than to be perfect. If I wait for this to be perfect and figure out video editing software and the right camera to buy and everything else, it's gonna be summer before I get around to doing that. And I feel like teachers need encouragement and strategies now. So I'm gonna take the fact that you're going to forgive this low production value, but you're gonna actually value what I have to say. I'm gonna take that as a given. And anyway, that's how we find ourselves here with me with my cell phone, literally recording this. So anyway, hopefully it's going well. So let me tell you what I'm gonna talk about today. The request I had was to confirm the 5 most essential things that I felt were the most essential things for teachers to be doing to be successful in remote learning. I had written a book this summer called Teaching in the Post-COVID Classroom, and it covered a lot from mindset around this whole digital learning piece. I mean, we didn't sign up for this, right? So it went from mindset through behavior management, through cultivating connection and community digitally, to managing time, and to reducing our workload and our stress. I mean, there was a lot in that book. And so that's where the request had come from teachers who maybe didn't have time to listen to or read the whole book, or to say, hey, look, you know, 9 months later, are the things you thought were going to be important really as important? And let me tell you, yes, there were 5 things that they're important for good teaching every day, but they're especially critical at this time. So 2 of them have to do with students learning. That's going to be this first video. And then part 2 is going to be the 3 that have to do with really feeling better about ourselves as educators, feeling more supported, and reducing stress in our lives, because this is a very difficult time for most of us. I don't need to go through the reasons why. You know, we're all in this. It's not pretty. We're getting it done, but it shouldn't be at great sacrifice to our own health and to our relationships with people we love. So anyway, so first 2 in this video, next 3 parts in the next video. However, we all know they're all intertwined. If the students aren't learning, we're more stressed. If we're more stressed, I gotta tell you, the kids aren't learning. A common theme in all of my writing is that your energy speaks louder than your words. That's a whole big topic for another video. But anyway, so let's stick with, right now, the 2 areas that I feel are critical for student success. And as I say, they're always critical in the classroom, even under a normal year. But right now, they're even more critical. So the first one is connection over curriculum. Now, if you've been teaching more than a nanosecond, you already know that. You know it, but do you do it? Because there is a huge, huge pressure on us to cover curriculum. Keep on plodding through, keep going, standard SMOs. Standard measurable objectives on the board at the beginning of the slide deck, every teacher in the same grade teaching the same lesson on the same day. Do we all have the same kids? With the same backgrounds? Like at a certain point, you need to say, yes, that's awesome curriculum. Thanks for choosing that for us. And then you need to put on your professional educator hat and make decisions that are best for your students. And that decision at this point is going to be connection over curriculum. Listen, you can have the best designed lessons in the world, the most technologically perfect, bells and whistles, everything. And at the end of the day, if nobody shows up to Zoom or turns them in, did it really matter? I love that. Help each other. That's a sense of community that I have fostered, worked on, appreciate, invest in. And it's really, really, really important. Because to be honest, those are the skills that when we look at curriculum, yeah, of course curriculum is important. But first off, we need to go with a backward design. We need to really pick out the pieces. What's super critical and how we're going to get there. And what isn't super critical, maybe we don't get to this year. Maybe we make it an additional assignment for those kiddos who are way ahead and they're interested in it. We make it high interest and off and running they go. But at this point, put pressure on ourselves to do every single page in that book, because that's what comes next, is doing ourselves a disservice and doing our students a disservice. I don't know if any of you are involved with PLCs, professional learning communities. I teach in Northern California. There's a lot of work around PLCs. Basically, it's your learning team, but it is a formal program you go through. And one of the first things you learn, we already suspected, but now we got the data to, follow it up, is a 2005 study by Marzano that said to teach, now this is in a regular classroom in a regular year with regular 6,500 kids in front of you, in order to teach all the standards that are assigned in the state adopted curriculum, it would take 22 years. We don't have 22 years, we have 12. And that's what we're in the classroom the whole time. So it's already half the curriculum we are not going to get to cover. And we need to accept that. We need to be smart, make smart choices, make sure what you choose is, A, really what they need to know this year. It's not going to get repeated in another year. It's critical they learn it this year. 2, we make it high interest so that they're engaged in it. Right? And 3, let's make sure it's relevant. So let me give you an example. For the teacher standing at the copy machine, making copies of the cursive packages. I love cursive. I taught 3rd grade for years. I love that. Maybe this year we gotta let it go. Teach them how to type. I'm just saying. Is there a lot of value in traumatizing kids to memorize the 50 states when they could Google that? This kind of recall of knowledge, I understand there is certainly an argument for training kids to remember things and memorize, but at the same time, if it's information that is readily available on Google, a better investment of time would be to teach them how to Google properly, don't you think? To be able to teach them keywords, teach them to look for bias, teach them to look for, is this source credible or not? I teach 4th grade, 9 and 10-year-olds. They can already use those words, right? We need to teach them how to use the tools we have. Listen, the format of education, sage on the stage, standing there, writing on the board, kids following along, that hasn't changed in, 200 years, 150 years, whatever. Times are changing. Teach them some 21st century skills. I know that's a buzzword we're tired of hearing, but it's true. This is a unique opportunity. The skills they're gonna need moving forward, we actually have, well, not all of them, but some of them, we have an excellent opportunity right now to teach them during distance learning, managing their time, collaborating virtually. Listen, there's a lot of businesses are probably not going to go back to doing business the way they used to do them, right? They're really seeing the value and the cost savings in having people work from home at least part of the time. And so these skills of learning to collaborate with people with whom you are not sitting in the same room, maybe whom you've never met. That's a really critical skill moving forward. Typing skills, editing skills, tech skills. Those are all important skills. Like I said, the time management piece. Learning how to minimize distractions and to keep to a deadline when somebody isn't constantly hounding you. Those are skills that these kids are going to need in the workforce, okay? And those don't necessarily come inside your, I'm not going to name any publishers. Let's not upset anybody. But you get my point, all right? Connection over curriculum. You have the best curriculum in the world. If the kids aren't showing up, who cares? You made the best slide deck in the world. The kids aren't engaged. You spent 4 hours making it, and then when they hand it in, you know they spend less than 4 minutes working on it. Right? It's demoralizing. It is soul crushing. It is exhausting, right? We gotta be sending out fewer assignments, but making sure that kids are well equipped to do them, that they hit really the standards that we need to hit, and that they're high interest, and that they have some element of choice to get their buy-in. Uh-oh, it's another video coming. Choice and a voice. So much to cover. Anyway, I think you get my point. Connection over curriculum. Listen, you may be the only person in this child's life who shows up for them consistently every day, bringing the best of yourself. I sure hope. Save it for them. Hey, smile. A smile, not a fake smile. It's okay for kids to see us struggling and to know that this isn't awesome for us either. But at the same time, we need to be positive, upbeat. We need to remind them, this is finite, right? I have a sense of community with my kids. I'm very lucky. Some of them rolled with me a grade. So I'm teaching a new grade this year. So, plot twist. New things even, new curriculum to teach. But the good side about that is it is one grade higher than I taught last year. So I got to bring some kids with me. So that is awesome. I already have community and connection with them. And it has really helped us. I remember when we did this quick, unprecedented, oh, are we tired of that word? Unprecedented means nobody knew what the heck they were doing. That's a nice word for that. Unprecedented just departure into distance learning. We left school Friday, see you Monday. An hour later, we get an email saying we're not going back on Monday. And by Tuesday, we need to have a digital program in place, and the kids are picking up Chromebooks on Monday. 1 hour's notice would have been nice. If we'd have had 1 hour's notice, we would have done? We'd have learned how to use Google Classroom. That had been on my to-do list for a long time. Learn Google Classroom. What's the hurry? You know what we did our first day of Zoom together? We went and got some kid's sibling. Once we'd figured out how to get on Zoom, we got some kid's sibling who was in 7th grade. I know what Google Classroom looked like on my end. I had spent all weekend learning that. I know what it looked like for the kids. He screen shared, showed us, here's how you find your assignment, here's how's missing, right? All those things they need to do. That came from a sense of community. But we bonded over that. I was very honest with the kids. We're going to learn together. Every great story we've been reading this year, there has been a huge plot twist. We're off on a hero's journey. We're going to learn something, and we're going to be transformed. By the end of this, we are not going to be the same people we were at the beginning of this. Right? Now, that's when I naively thought it was 8 days. That's all we were told. 8 days, then it's spring break, then we're going to flatten the curve. Hey, you remember that? Flatten the curve? Anyway, connection over curriculum. If you build this spirit of being together, in it together, the kids will never forget it. Are they going to forget their multiplication facts or their algebra or the date of the gold rush or whatever? Probably. But they're probably never going to forget that they sat on Zoom with their teacher, that they had a pet day where they could show their pets, that we all got up and shared our pajamas, to be honest, one day. Yeah, still wearing them. I was just teaching. All business on top. I'm just keeping it real. We did a gummy bear osmosis a science project this week. I sent home the gummy bears in the pickup pack. We were all going to do it together. So I had to take my laptop into the kitchen. Those kids were thrilled. Don't ask me why. Mrs. S, we've never seen inside a teacher's kitchen. You're right. We've never done this before. It's kind of fun. Okay, so that's one, connection over curriculum. All right. 2, hey, even if I figure out how to edit, I'm not going to edit out that sigh because the struggle is real. This is the second thing with regards to students. Let's be less concerned about their skills loss and more concerned about their confidence loss. I want to say it again. Just write it down. Be less concerned about their skills loss and be more concerned about their confidence loss. Of course they've lost skills. What are we expecting? Having administrators show that data to you repeatedly and keep asking you to retest them to validate that none of those test scores are valid. The parents are doing half of it in my district, high-performing district. Half the parents are doing the tests. The other half, those kids have dodgy internet connections. They're babysitting their siblings. One kid's going to work with her parents. I'm not kidding you. She starts off our 8 a.m. Zoom in bed, and then she's missing in action for an hour and a half, and then she shows up at work with her parents at our 11 o'clock Zoom. Yeah, how are those test scores valid? Anyway, I'm not saying that it's not important to have data. It is. But calm down. Calm down, people. Listen, this is not just a problem for your school or your district or your state. This is a worldwide problem, right? The whole world has taken a pause on education here. I know, oh no, we're not pausing, we're still teaching. Of course we're still teaching. However, it's not our best teaching environment. It's not their best learning environment. There's going to be a skills loss. Everybody's going to have it. It's all relative. Listen, I grew up in the 60s. Yeah, that aged me. In the 60s in London. The generation before me lived through the war. Now, I don't know if you know what happened in London during World War II, but it was getting bombed non-stop. So all the schools, most things closed, but the kids all left London. They all got packed on trains with little labels with their names on, off to the country to go live with strangers. There was no school. They didn't go to school for 4 years, probably, some of them. That was the generation before me. When I grew up, I don't remember there being a lack of doctors or lawyers or architects. Like, they still managed to graduate and get good jobs, okay? So I know, of course, my son is in his last semester in college. Oh, he is not a good digital learner. We need to get that thing done. That's hard for them. That's hard for them. And his professor, need to make the hard decision to fail him a class. Like, I feel awful for my son, kind of mad, but at the same time, like, I'm sure that wasn't easy for a teacher to fail somebody on their last class. Now you got to do another semester of school. If you're teaching high school and these grades are going to determine the moving forward, of course the grades are important, okay? But in 4th grade and other areas, calm down, calm down. The skills loss, it will be okay. They'll come back in class. We will be able to remediate that skills gap. You know what's going to be harder to fix? Those kids lost confidence in their learning, okay? We made it such drudgery for them. We were such sticklers with our grading rubrics that were attached to the Google Classroom that, like, you can see their affect going down, right? We have got to find ways to give students opportunities to be successful, right? We've got to proactively look for those, and they're not going to come in the teacher's edition with the standardized test. If you've got to give them extra little projects to help them get caught up and minimize some other stuff, then that's what we've got to do. Kids have got to feel that they are still capable of learning. They're losing their confidence, right? This is the first year I've given letter grades teaching fourth grade. Ask me how much that hurts. What I'm gonna put in some kid's mind, the idea that they're a C or D student, when there is nothing about this teaching experience that lends to me doing my best teaching or being able to help them or reteach. It's craziness, okay? So I know, of course, we're obligated to give grades. You know, before, we kind of did ourselves a disservice in California. When we did our first little foray in spring, it was decided credit, no credit, which seemed like a kind and sensible thing to do. Also because nobody knew how to grade this stuff. But at the same time, now kids kind of go into lazy habits. Turn her in. Turn her in. Ah, it's blank. Wrote a few words. Turn her in. I'm tired of sending back and forth stuff. Anyway, I'm sure you have the same issues. I'm sure it's not just my perfect children who do that. I see the memes. It's a constant. But we got to find ways for kids to feel successful, okay? Because we cannot. If they lose their confidence, that's going to be really, really hard. So I'm super encouraging people and telling them this is what's important. Find ways for kids to be successful. Yes, if you find an interest that a student has, and then they can follow up and they can do their little passion project in something they can feel successful in, and you can give them credit. And you know what? I know some teachers out there, you sticklers out there, probably you sticklers won't be a fan of me. That's okay. I'm okay with that. The world needs sticklers. If you're landing planes, I want you to be a stickler. Don't be loosey-goosey on the rules if you're landing planes, right? However, with teaching and children who are not widgets that fit in a hole, when you say, oh my gosh, but that gives those kids who are interested in getting out of it a way out, please. At this time, it's a world pandemic. We need to be less concerned with the kids who are finding a way out and be more concerned with helping kids find a way in. All right? We need to be less concerned about their skill loss and more concerned about making sure they don't lose their confidence in themselves as learners and their interest in learning. You know, for 20 years that I've been teaching under my name, on every letter I put little quotes, helping kids love learning. You know, this year I honestly, inflicting trauma in people's homes, let's not write that. But I'm not sure we're all loving learning right now. I know we're not loving teaching. We're smiling, we're trying, but it's hard. So I want you to remember that. It's hard for us, it's hard for them. Extend a little grace. That's the topic of the next video. Anyway, I have talked longer than I planned on. Go figure, I'm a teacher. So those are the two things, connection over curriculum. Be more concerned about confidence loss than a skills loss. If you like what I have to say, I think I'm supposed to do this, right? Like, look below. Hopefully I'll figure out how to put that link in. You can go to my website, not because this is a shameless promotion, but because I have something of value to give you. There is a positive mindset journal for teachers that I published years ago that is very popular. Well, I have a free digital version on the site. Go to the site, grab it if you like it. And then, you know, do your friends a solid. If you have teaching colleagues who you think would appreciate hearing this message, share this with them. I don't know how you even do that, okay? Because I don't know Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I don't have any of those things. You remember me saying I was born in the 60s, right? So, you know, this is a stretch for me on my cell phone. I got Google Classroom down pretty well now. But if there is a way for you to share this, I don't know what you do. You put it on Facebook and maybe it can go viral like Bernie with his mittens. I don't know. I don't know how that works, but probably you do. You're supposed to like and subscribe. I don't know what that does for me. But if you want to share it with people, email it to them, put it on Facebook, do whatever. That would be great. I will see you in video 2. And that's it. Thank you for your time and attention.